Hey guys, what is up? This is JLo's Tips and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today, I'm gonna teach you how to create this photo manipulation that I call best buddies. And I hope you're going to learn from this one because I'm also giving some tips as we go through the whole process. So let's begin. Okay, so this is gonna be the size for our canvas here. So width of 2400, a height of 2000, and a resolution of 72. So you're free to change the resolution here if you want to have a better quality for your photo manipulation. Okay, and these are the images that we're gonna be using. So first is we have our subject here, and then we have our dog, and for our background and another background, and just some birds to add to the whole scene that we're really on a beach. So as you can see here in all of our images, I really did take my time on finding all these images to match those perspective and all the lightings, so that when I do my photo manipulation, I just need to do some slight changes on the colors. So as you can see here, this is going to be our subject. So basically this is where our other images is gonna revolve. As you can see here, the baby is lying flat on the ground, and we need to match the perspective of our other images basing on this picture. So that's going to be the first tip that I can share with you. So I don't care how much time you take in finding those images, as long as you can find those right images that will make your photo manipulation a lot better and a lot more realistic. Now it's time to crop our subject and all other images that we're gonna be using. So here we're just going to use a select subject feature in Photoshop. So just go to select and then choose subject, and now it's going to create a selection around our subject here, and we're just going to fix some of this one. So we're just going to use a lasso tool. So just press L on your keyboard or just click the lasso tool in the toolbar, and then we're just gonna fix some of this one. Since some of our baby's finger is not included in the selection, we're just gonna have to draw a selection here. So just hold the shift key in your keyboard and then just draw this finger over here to add to the existing selection. And now whenever you want to deduct from the selection, just hold the Alt key in your keyboard, and it's gonna show this minus sign over the cursor, and just draw the line like this, and it's gonna deduct from your current selection. So I think we're done with creating our selection and fixing it. So just press Ctrl J in your keyboard to duplicate the selection. Right click and convert this one to a smart object. So tip number 2, always convert your duplicated images into a smart object, so that you can preserve the quality whenever you make it smaller or you want to make it bigger. I'm just gonna delete this one. So basically this is going to be our subject, and I already fixed the image for the baby's position here, so that I can have a guide in creating my photo manipulation. And now we're just gonna do the same thing for our puppy over here. So let's go to select and choose subject, and just do the same thing in fixing the selection. So shift key to add a selection and Alt key to deduct from the current selection. So just choose a lasso tool, and we're just going to fix this one. And now we can press Ctrl J to duplicate this one and convert this one to a smart object. And we're just going to drag this one over here. And tip number 3, you need to match the scale of all your images. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl T on this one, and I'm gonna have to make this one smaller. I think this one will do for now. So we're just gonna fix this one after we add the backgrounds in our photo manipulation. So we're just gonna close this one since it's already done. And the next thing we're gonna add is this wooden bridge over here. So I'm gonna use a lasso tool. I'm gonna use a pen tool for this one. So just press P on your keyboard or just choose a pen tool on the toolbar. And I'm gonna create a selection around this area over here. And when you're using a pen tool, just try to get inside the image you want to use. So like this one, I just really want to have a clean edge for this one, so we're just gonna have to go inside our wooden bridge. So now we can right click on this one and make selection, and I just really want 1 pixel for the feather here so that we can have a smoother edge, and just press OK. Now press Ctrl J to duplicate, right click and convert to smart object, and we're going to put this one below our subjects. I think this one will do for now. We're just gonna fix those scaling after we put all the images. Now we're going to drag our background. So I'm just gonna use this part over here. So I'm just gonna use a rectangular marquee tool, and I'm gonna create a selection somewhere over in this area. And then just press Ctrl J to duplicate and convert this one to a smart object. Just like this, and drag this one below our wooden bridge. You can also press Ctrl T and hold the Shift key on your keyboard to drag one point of your image. So hold Shift key and drag this one over here. And there you go, you have your background already. So as you can see here in all our images, it already matches it already matches the lighting of our subject and also our background. So that's the very essence of creating a photo manipulation. Just find the right images and you're going to have a better and realistic result in your photo manipulation. So now we can move on and drag our next images. Okay, so let's rename this layers first so that we don't get confused by all these images. So this one here is going to be the background. This is the wooden bridge. And the next thing we're gonna add is our bird over here. So I'm just gonna put these subjects in a scene like they're watching this bird flying over here. So we're gonna make some adjustments later on the angle of our baby's head. So first, let's just create a selection around our subject over here. So the same thing, go to select and choose subject. And then let's just fix those messy selection by using a lasso tool. Now we can duplicate this one by pressing Ctrl J and convert this one to a smart object. And just press Ctrl T and make this one smaller to match the scale of our subject. And I'm gonna put it somewhere over here. Change the angle a bit, and I think this will do for now. So the next thing we're gonna add is another bird. I'm gonna put it on this side over here. Okay, so this is the other bird that we're gonna be using. Okay, so we're gonna put this one behind our baby. So let's drag this one over here. Press Ctrl T, right click and choose flip horizontal. And we're just gonna make this one smaller and put this one somewhere over here. And the next thing we're gonna add is for our framing or the bokeh effect. So we're gonna use this post over here. I'm just gonna use a lasso tool for this one, and I'm gonna create a selection. So I'm just really trying to create a selection inside our subject here and not those parts on these edges, since there's a possibility that we're gonna include these dark parts, and I just really want to have a clean edge on this one. So we're just gonna create a selection inside this wooden post. And I'm gonna put it somewhere over here. So, and since our light source is from this side over here, we need to flip this one So that's another thing in creating your photo manipulation. You need to determine your light source first so that you can match all the lightings when you adjust all the lightings on your images. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl T on this one, right click and flip horizontal, and I'm gonna put it somewhere over here, and I'm just gonna drag this one side here to make it thinner. So just hold the shift key and drag this one like this. And the next thing we're gonna add is for the post here, so I'm just gonna duplicate this one. So just press Ctrl J to duplicate, and we're gonna drag this one over here, and this one should be behind our wooden bridge. And I'm just gonna make this one smaller, so just press Ctrl T, and I think we just need to make it thinner a little bit. So basically, without all the adjustments that we're gonna add, it looks like a little bit that the images we're gonna be using is of the same scene. So the brightness and the colors are not really much of an issue. So we're just gonna tweak some of its brightness and also add some shadows to make the whole photo manipulation a whole lot realistic and better. So first things first, we're gonna clean up those edges. So like this one over here, these are really giving some sharp edges, and to fix this one we can use either a blur tool or a smudge tool. So first I'm just gonna blur some of these parts on the baby, and I just really want it to have a smooth transition between our subject and our background. And oh, I forgot to rename all our layers, so I'm just gonna click on this one, rename this one to flying bird. So now it's all fixed here, the names. So just try to be creative on naming so that you can have a better workflow on your layers. And now it's time to smoothen up those edges by using a smudge tool. So I'm gonna try to smoothen up this baby over here. So I'm just gonna click on this one. So first, before we can apply this smudge tool or blur tool, we need to rasterize our image first. So right click and choose rasterize layer. Now we can choose our blur tool and just blur those edges so that it can have a better transition and a smoother effect on the edge of our subject. So you can also adjust the strength here by just dragging the slider. So I just want this one to be 25, just a subtle blur for the edges of our subject. Now I think we're done with this one, so let's convert this one back to the smart object. And now let's fix the dog over here. So let's click on the dog, and we're gonna try to fix these sharp edges here by using a smudge tool. So first, let's rasterize this one. So rasterize layer. Okay, so we can also press Ctrl J on this one and convert the other one to a smart object. So this is another tip for you. So just duplicate some things whenever you rasterize an image, so that you can have a copy in case your rasterized layer did not go as you planned. Now we just have to try to fix these edges here by using a smudge tool. So just choose smudge tool in the toolbar like this, and we're gonna try to smudge these edges here just by doing this one. You can also adjust the strength in the toolbar here. I think 40% will do for this one. So you can also use this smudge tool if you want to create this hairy effect like this. And we're just gonna try to fix this one by just smudging it. So this may take a lot of time, but it really does the job when creating those hairy edge or smoother edge for subjects like dogs or other animals. And just try to make your brush a thinner brush so that you can have an effect like this and not like this. And you can also erase those edges by just using an eraser tool in the toolbar, or just press E on your keyboard and just erase those parts that you don't need. Okay, I think this looks good already, so now we can convert this one back to a smart object. So now it's time to put some shadows below our subject here. I just think we need to make this one bigger, so just press Ctrl T on this one. And we're just gonna make this one slightly bigger. So I think this one will work, and I'm gonna put this one just below here. There you go. And just to make it a little bit realistic, I'm just gonna drag this little ear over here. So I'm gonna use a puppet warp for this one. So let's go to edit and choose puppet warp. Now we're gonna put a pin over here, so just click here. There you go, now you have a pin, and we're just gonna lock the image in place and just put some random pins over the edges of our puppy, just like this. Okay, so I think this is already good now, and we're just gonna slightly rotate this part here so that it's like it's falling on the edge of our wooden bridge here. So just click on this one here, just make sure it turns into blue, and then just hold the Alt key in your keyboard and it's gonna show this blue circle here. And we're just gonna slightly, okay, so I think we need some points here. There you go. Then just click here and hold the Alt key and rotate this one. And you can also delete this point here, so just hold the Alt key and it's gonna turn into a scissor like this, and just click and it's gonna remove those points. So I think we need to add the point somewhere over here. Hold the Alt key, and then I think that will do for now. So there you go, and I think I'm just gonna move him up. Okay, so now it's time to put some shadows in our puppy over here. So I'm just gonna add a new layer, and I'm gonna drag this one below our puppy. So now we can select all these layers, so just hold the Control key in your keyboard, select this layer also, and this one also, and just press Ctrl G, and we're gonna rename this one to puppy. So just by grouping all your layers, it makes your layer panel here a little bit cleaner, and you can find your layers easily just by grouping them. So now it's time to put some shadow, and I'm gonna rename this one to shadow, and we're gonna choose a brush tool and with a black foreground, of course, and just keep your flow to about 8%. And we're just gonna slightly add some shadows below our puppy over here. Okay, so there you go. Now we need some shadows in our puppy, and we just need to create another layer, and we're gonna put it above our puppy layer here. So just create a new layer by clicking this icon, and we're gonna do the same thing, but for this time it's gonna be inside this puppy over here. So just like this. I think we need to make this one smaller, so 5% will do. So this is the before and this is the after. Now it blends to our background more. So you can also adjust the overall darkness by just dragging the opacity here if you think your shadow is a little bit dark. Okay, so I think this is better. So now I'm just gonna try to match the brightness of our puppy here to the brightness of our baby. So just click here, and I'm just gonna add an adjustment layer icon. So let's go over here and choose brightness. Let's create a clipping mask so that it's gonna restrict this adjustment to the layer puppy layer only. And I'm gonna slightly increase the brightness. And then just press Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. and I just only need the brightness somewhere over these areas here. So we're gonna choose a brush tool by pressing B, or just select here, and we need a white foreground for this one. So I think we're just gonna add slightly some brightness over here and also here. So this is the before and this is the after. Now I can't really see the effect here since I'm really overexposed by editing this image. You might not see some mistakes here, so the best thing you can do is just take a break and maybe just a few minutes, and then just come back to your workplace, and I think you're gonna see some mistakes in your work that needs some adjustments or changes. But for now, I'm just gonna stick for this one because I think it already looks good. We're just gonna do the same thing for our wooden bridge here. We're gonna add brightness to it. Just create a clipping mask, and okay, I think that will do for now. So now it's time to go to our bird here, and then we're just gonna create a brightness layer again, create a clipping mask, and I think that will do. And now for our other bird here, just create another brightness layer, adjustment layer, create a clipping mask, and I think this will do for now. So now we just need to make some adjustment in the color of our wood here. So I'm just gonna select this one first and press Ctrl G. So I'm just gonna group these ones because I think we're gonna add a little bit of adjustments here. So I'm just gonna rename this one to wood, and then we're gonna create an adjustment layer. I think we need some color balance on this one. As you can see here in our wooden bridge, I think there's some yellow in it, so we just need to drag this slider here. So first create a clipping mask, I think this, and just play around with all the sliders here until you get the closest result. So I think this looks good for now. So I just added 34 of red and negative 36 for our yellow. Then we're just gonna add some more brightness here, so another brightness adjustment layer, and then press Ctrl I to invert the layer mask and choose a brush tool. We need a white foreground here to paint over here, and if you want to erase, just click this icon for the black one. So we're gonna need a white foreground, or we're just gonna add some brightness over here. This is the before and that's the after. And we're just gonna do the same thing to the other one here, so we can copy these layers. So just hold the Control key and now press Control C on your keyboard to copy both of these adjustment layers. Let's go to this wood layer over here. Let's press Control G to group, click over here, press Control V to paste the adjustment layers, then hold the Alt key in your keyboard and you're gonna see this icon change over here, and you're just gonna click in between these two layers to create a clipping mask, and just do the same thing for the other one. Okay, so I think we just need some other adjustment layer here. I think I'm gonna add a hue or saturation just to make it a little bit brownish like the color of this wooden bridge here. So let's create a hue or saturation layer. Let's create a clipping mask, and I'm gonna drag the lightness somewhere over -10, and also the saturation. There you go. And I think a negative. Okay, I think this will do for now. And we're gonna add another so this is the brightness layer, and we're just gonna choose a brush tool, and we're gonna paint some brightness on this area. Okay, I think this is good for now. So now I think we need to change the angle of our baby's head. So let's select our baby here, and then just go to edit and choose puppet warp. So we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna create some points over here just to lock the baby image in place, and then we're gonna put 1 point over here for the head. Then just hold the Alt key and rotate this head over here until it matches the angle of our bird. I think this will do for now. Just hit apply. So this is the before and this is the after. Now it looks better and it creates the whole scene a little bit more realistic. So I think we're just gonna change the angle of this one a little bit and make it smaller. There you go. We're gonna change the angle of this one also, and I think we need to make this one smaller so that we can create that perspective that this wooden bridge here is a little bit wider. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl T on this one and make this one smaller. And also for our wood here, so I'm just gonna select the wood layer, press Ctrl T, hold the shift key to drag only one side, and I think that is better. Now let's select our bird here. Let's choose edit and puppet warp again, and we're gonna do the same thing. Now we're gonna click on this one and rotate this one just like this. Okay, so now it's time to add some blur effect on some of our images. So basically this is going to be the focus of our photo manipulation. So this here, and all these parts here are gonna be blur. So let's just get into it. So this one is gonna be, just select your wood layer here and then go to filter. Just make sure it's smart object so that you can fix the blur whenever you want to fix the blur. So smart object first, right click and convert to a smart object, then go to filter, blur, and add a Gaussian blur. So I think 10 pixels will do for this one. You can also adjust just by double clicking on this Gaussian blur here, and I think 8 will do, so just press OK. And we're gonna do the same thing for the bird over here, so go to filter, blur, and add a Gaussian blur. So this one is a little bit closer, so I think 5 pixels will do for this one. And for our wood over here, so we're gonna do the same thing. Select the layer, then go to filter, blur, and add a Gaussian blur. 10 pixels or maybe 12 pixels will do for this one, and then just press OK. And then let's just go over to our wooden bridge here. So just click it and just make sure it's selected on the layer and not the adjustment layer. And then just rasterize this one. So right click and rasterize layer and choose blur tool in your toolbar. And now we're just gonna blur these edges over here. So just like this. Also on this part here. There you go. And also a little bit in here. And I'm just gonna try to fix this one, this sharp edge over here. So I'm just gonna go to our front wood, create layer mask. We're gonna choose a brush tool, and we need a black foreground for this one to erase this part. And I think 70% will do for this. And I'm just gonna slightly erase this part here. There you go. I think this looks better. And I think we need to make this part a little bit darker, so we're just gonna go to brightness, adjustment layer, and lower the brightness here. Use the brush tool, and with the black foreground, just erase this part over here. And I think we're gonna need to drag this one over here, so I'm gonna select the whole group and we're just gonna drag this one a little bit over here. Press Ctrl T on the group here, and then just make this one smaller. There you go. So now we're almost done with our photo manipulation. So just to add some motion in our whole photo manipulation and make it more realistic, we're gonna choose this flying bird over here, And since this one is moving, we need to add some motion blur on this one. So just make sure it's an smart object, then go to filter, choose blur, and then let's go to motion blur. So just make sure the angle matches the bird here, so it's going to be the angle of 180 degrees. So this angle here is already okay, 0. You can also choose 180, it's the same thing. And just play around with the slider until you get the desired result that you want. So I think 15 pixels will do for this one, and then just press OK. So we're almost done with our photo manipulation, and we just need a little bit of color grading. Okay, so go to your uppermost layer and hold Ctrl Alt Shift E to create a merged layer of all your layers. Right click and convert this one to a smart object. Now we can go to filter and add a camera raw filter. And I already have a saved settings for this one, so I'm just gonna apply it. So I'm gonna load settings and I'm gonna choose this one over here. So there you go. So these are the settings that I changed here. So I added a bit of texture into it just to make the photo manipulation more eye-catching. And I think I added some color noise reduction. So basically what a color noise reduction does. So I'm just gonna put this one to 0, and you're just gonna see some noise here in those colors. So I'm just gonna go to 100 and just decrease those overall noise. I added some, I really wanted our sky to be a teal color, so I just dragged the blue hue to the left side and I put it to about -46. And for the color grading, I just used a purple shadow for this one just to make it more saturated. And for the highlights, I choose a little bit of blue or sky blue on this one, so just drag this one over here. So just play around with all the settings here until you're satisfied. And yeah, there's no right or wrong here. This just really makes your photo manipulation a little bit exciting and more realistic. So whenever you're satisfied, just press OK. And we are done with our tutorial for today. So I hope you've learned something from this tutorial, and if you do, hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next video.